Today marks the 5th day of Hanukkah, and most of the candles of the Menorah are now lit. But for our Jewish brothers and sisters in New York and beyond, amid the Hanukkah lights, there is also the darkness of anti-Semitism. The New York Police Department reports anti-Semitic events nearly doubled over the past year alone. And joining us tonight with an update is Rabbi Yaakov Menken, Managing Director of the Coalition for Jewish Values. Rabbi Menken, always great to have you on. Let's talk more about this report from the NYPD and the city's uptick in anti-Semitic events. Tell us what has been happening there and how alarming is this?
Well, it could not hardly be more alarming, because here we are less than a century after the Holocaust, and a whole new open war on Jews has broken out. Unfortunately, according to a recent survey of Americans, only half said that they believe that anti-Semitism has increased recently. It means the other half don't know what's going on in the streets of New York and even in Congress, because anti-Semitism has been encouraged over the last few years to an extent that we certainly didn't see since the Second World War. This is a tragic time for anyone who values religious freedom, but especially for the Jewish community, and especially in New York.
Yeah, and Rabbi, what do you think is behind this very concerning rise?
Well, the first thing to know is that despite what certain people on the left are telling you, it's not about white supremacy. It's certainly not about Donald Trump. Kanye West is a symptom. He is not the problem. A lot of people have said, oh, you see, that since Trump met with Kanye West, now we're going to talk about anti-Semitism. That's not how it works. Kanye was a disciple of Louis Farrakhan for a decade before he turned Republican. It's about the Black Hebrew Israelites and Louis Farrakhan and other anti-Semitic groups, most of which, I am sad to say, a lot of this is coming out of people who fail the first test of white supremacy. They're not white. And that's who is causing the attacks in New York. That's what we are seeing. Those are the people who, the Black Hebrew Israelite devotees are the ones who shot up a store in Jersey City. And a fellow who looked for quote-unquote Zionist temples is the one who went and attacked a very non-Zionist Hasidic ceremony on Hanukkah 2 years ago in Monsey, New York.
Yeah, in other news, on the first day of Hanukkah, the New York Times published a crossword puzzle that many say was shaped like a swastika. I want to get your reaction to that. I mean, what did you think when you saw that? And also, what type of feedback have you received from the Jewish community?
Well, it absolutely is a swastika. Anybody can look at it and see it's like right there. It's obvious that the New York Times did not do that on purpose. But what we have seen out of the New York Times is a series of anti-Semitic attacks on the Jewish community, claiming that, the Jews have been stealing money, which is not rightly theirs, is the false accusation that anti-Semites have used literally for millennia. It's where the idea of boycotts come from. And also, the New York Times was arguing that the Jewish community is harming their own children by denying them a quote-unquote real education. After that series of attacks, each one of which more radical than the next, you kind of see the divine hand at work, because the swastika is one of the most hateful symbols in today's era. You have to go up. It goes right up there with the KKK hoods. And the fact that they would publish this obviously was an accident, but a revealing accident. We are during Hanukkah. Hanukkah is a time where a series of hidden miracles led to an open miracle. Here we have a series of hidden anti-Semitic attacks, and then God just says, okay, it's time to show the truth. And here's what the New York Times is really doing.
Yeah, Rabbi, I'm curious. I mean, I saw that and I immediately saw the swastika. I'm wondering, did the New York Times give any type of explanation or apology for it?
They did say something a few years ago about how it was an accident. I heard something, I think it was more recent, about how it was just a swirl and swirling outwards from the center. I mean, anybody can take a look. And by the way, it's still on my Twitter feed at Menken, where I make this comment that, God decided it was time to out the New York Times for what it was doing. You can take one look at that page. It's amazing to me that an editor didn't catch it.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising. Well, Rabbi Menken, thank you so much for your insights. We always appreciate it. And happy Hanukkah to you.
Thank you so much. And happy Hanukkah to all your Jewish listeners.